Learn Astrology by Shelley Overton, now available as an ebook at angeliczodiac.com.
Hello, and welcome to the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast with astrologer Shelley Overton.
Hi, and welcome to the July 8th edition of the Astro Energy Astrology Show. And my name is Shelley Overton. It's July 8th, 2022, in case you're watching along in the future. Today, we're going to go over two things. One is the weekly astrology, and the other one is what's happening August 1st. So yes, we'll probably get to it again for that show, but I find it rather significant. And so we're going to talk about that. Anyway, let's just go to the August 1st event, because I kind of stumbled on this specific event when I was doing a reading for one of my clients. And I just thought, wow, that's really something. You know, there are a few events that have been happening recently, namely the conjunction of 4 planets in Capricorn a year ago, and now, well, in January a year ago. In January of 2021, also there was a stellium in January of 2020 in Capricorn. Not exactly the same stellium, but definitely both significant, last year's being very significant. This one is the conjunction of Mars, Uranus, and the North Node in Taurus. And why is this significant? Well, Uranus in Taurus in and of itself is very significant, in my opinion, because Uranus rules, number 1, astrology, number 2, science, 3, enlightened growth, understanding, intellectual awareness, so many things involving science, involving technology, the internet, our computers, lightning strikes, things like that, weather, all sorts of things. And so when you have Uranus in Taurus, you see a heightened awareness and attraction to weather events, to growing things, to money issues, and Uranus being the technological planet, having money in a digital form, such as cryptocurrency, is expected, honestly. And Mars joining up with Uranus is pretty significant, because Mars is like the fuel for the fire of Uranus. And then you add the North Node to it. And the North Node is a moment of destiny and fate that expresses towards the future. It is an energy where in our charts, we read it as where we need to grow and move forward past what we come in with. So right now, the North Node is at 18 degrees of Taurus, and Scorpio at 18 degrees is the South Node, which means our past is coming in as our psychological issues. We are growing from the information. What we're doing is we're bringing in the information from the past, transmuting it in the now, and moving forward. And North Node is the direction on the compass where we're heading forward, and South Node is looking behind us. And yes, the South Node tends to drive us because it's what we're familiar with. But the North Node, because we're not as familiar with it, it is the future. When we have transits over a North Node position in astrology, we wake up to kind of a situation or an information or understanding of that which we're not as familiar with, that which we choose to come in and learn from. And so having that North Node at 18 joining Mars and Uranus, it adds so much more power to what's going on with it. And it is a moment of fate when it's a transit. Now, someone born on this day, they are going to definitely have like a significant life purpose that will affect the masses, because that is what this energy signifies. Uranus affects the collective consciousness. There are trans-Saturnian planets, as they're called, which are the ones that are out in the zodiac beyond Saturn. Vedic astrology generally goes up to Saturn. Historically, that's how far they read the zodiac. But after you get past Saturn, you have Uranus and Neptune and Pluto, Chiron. And so these planets take longer to go around the sun because they're so far out compared to where we are. And that means that it can take tens of years to go around the whole zodiac. If you're looking at tens of years, decades, you're looking at a generation. That's why Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they have more of a significant pull for the collective, for generations, for groups of people born under a certain sign. And when I say a certain sign, I mean, I'm the generation of Pluto and Virgo. There's Pluto in Libra, Pluto in Scorpio, Pluto in Sagittarius, and Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto in Aquarius. So those are the generations that we've been through. Let me think, since I was born. But of course, the elderly now, they're Pluto in Cancer, Pluto in Leo, Pluto in Virgo, some of them, depending on how far back you go. But anyway, each one of those Pluto transits encapsulates a group of people who have a specific way of looking at life as a collective. And so it's a generation. And I'm always interested in how society labels generations, because Pluto really, for me, is the quintessential dictator of a generation. So Pluto went into Capricorn between 2007 and 2008, and now is getting ready to go into Aquarius about 24 years later. And that means that is one generation. Now, my son is in Gen Z, and I think it's Z. Now, see, I'm not even sure. I think it's either X or Z. Well, my son was born in 98. My daughter was born in 2001. I'm pretty sure they gave them different generations, but Gen Z probably most closely relates to what they're assigned to. But I am technically a boomer, but I was born 3 months before the end of that very large generation of years. And I'm absolutely not amongst identifying with the generation of boomers. I mean, I definitely am a child of the 70s as far as tastes and awareness of, what was around when I was growing up. But I stay current with a lot of different things. And so my particular generation, specifically the Virgo generation, we are healers and workers. We're the ones who are kind of the selfless do-gooders and teachers, but we're also military, because that's what Pluto was in. Virgo, it rules the military, but it's work and service. I identify with that, but I had 4 planets in Virgo, including Pluto, but Pluto was next to Uranus when I was born. And so Uranus adds the alternative viewpoint. And of course, right around 63, 64, when the Beatles came in, it really heralded in a shift in mindset for, forever, but for that generation. And because I was born just after that, Kennedy being assassinated, Beatles coming in, the sexual revolution, that's all kind of part of my generation. And also Uranus seeking to awaken us to the collective mindset. And we made this huge shift at that time, the collective societal shift in the 60s, and then the further awakening to relationships and sex and free love and all that in the late 60s into the 70s, which is Pluto and Libra, which rules relationships and connection. So you can see each generation comes in with their own energy. But Uranus, specifically, as we're talking about here, it is about understanding where we are more eccentric, where we are more independent, autonomous, entrepreneurial, all words that describe the energy given to us by Aquarius and Uranus. So Mars, being a very fast-moving planet comparatively, comes around, every couple of years on top of Uranus, but not necessarily with the North Node. So the joining of these three planets means that as a collective, we are waking up to alternative food choices. And that includes eating healthier, because that's what Taurus is about. It's about food. It's about growing things, diet, agriculture. And Uranus is about looking at how that might not be in our best interests up until now. And so with Mars, the drive-in force pushing us to do something, I see probably the first thing that comes in is changing our diet. So we're becoming more aware of chemical additives, non-GMO versus GMO, how it affects our health. Part of what this transit is showing us is that we're not as healthy when we eat things that don't agree. We are moving into a stronger vibration, a higher vibration, and the frequency is wanting us to clear out a lot of the things in our lives in multiple ways, including clutter clearing, letting go of jobs that don't serve our needs, getting rid of friends and even family members who don't support where we're heading. And where we're heading can very likely be driven by an intuitive input. Uranus actually rules channeling, which means that we receive vibration, understanding, information, intellectual downloads from the collective when we are expanding the position of Uranus. And Mars is really driving that and bringing Uranus even more power. It's making Taurus ruled influence people, much more independent. I mean, historically, I would say Taurus is kind of a codependent sign because it's feminine, receptive, and very sensitive because of that nature. But it's also a slow-moving, thoughtful energy. It is ruled by Venus, who is also feminine energy. Receptive yet slow to move energy of Taurus being supercharged intellectually by Uranus and supercharged by the masculine drive of Mars. And it's kind of like lighting a firework, honestly, which kind of reminds me, I'm going to take an aside here real quick. My son did an amazing video of some fireworks this past week. He used his little drone. It's a really wonderful, kind of kitschy little fun video. I'm going to link it in the description. If you want, go and check it out. For those of you who listen to me but don't necessarily see me, I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Artful Shelley. You can type that in and it should bring up my channel. Or you can type in the podcast name as well, Astro Energy, and YouTube will come up with the link for that. But I always link it in the description. I always put all my links in my website, on my website, and you can get it there as well. It's on Facebook. I mean, you'd have a hard time not finding me on the web if you type in my name on Google. So getting back to Uranus and Mars, sorry for the interruption. We are looking at this stellium of Uranus-Mars-North Node as being a significant event. And what kind of things happen when these planets and the North Node come together? Well, Uranus rules weather events. It rules the internet. It is an energy that enlightens and awakens. In the sign of Taurus, it supercharges growth. It supercharges awareness of money and money systems. And Mars just adds fuel to that fire. Now, not only are these planets coming together and the North Node, because it's not a planet, it's a point in the sky, we are looking at a trine at the moment. The chart that I have here shows this large triangle you see going out in blue up to the moon at 27 degrees, Pluto at 27 degrees, and then back down to this stellium. Now, all the planets involved in this grand trine are in Earth signs. Earth signs are recognizing the material world. They recognize pragmatism and law of cause and effect that relates to how it expresses in the material world. So when we have this trine energy, we are awakening to a larger storyline. And even though Uranus-Mars-North Node are at 18 degrees, Mars will move past Uranus and get to 27 degrees. But of course, the moon will be past that point by then. But what happens is the Mars enters 27 degrees around the 16th of August, so 2 weeks after this particular event. And then it triggers an exact trigger to the event again when it talks to the moon at the 27 degrees and Pluto at 27 degrees. That being said, yes, Mars will be at 27, the moon will not, but it will still be trining to Pluto. So this trine Pluto energy is going to also be kind of a footnote or an addendum to the energy of August 1st, because it's triggering the same day aspects. It's triggering that 27 degree trine that went on at the moment in this chart, in this particular time and space. So it's going to be like, oh, yeah, not only is Mars triggering Uranus by being on it, it's going to trigger a trine event in Earth. So it's a material, physical, real world event with Pluto currently retrograde. And so that's going to mean that there's energy of authority in some emotional issue coming out when Mars gets to 27. If Boris Johnson stays in his position that long, I don't think he'll be making it past August 16th, honestly. Mars is men in trine to Pluto, which is also an authority energy and a major significant shift of physical real world male energy associated with warrior and war energy. So there is a battle that Boris Johnson's going through currently with, trying to retain his position in the government. I don't know that he's going to be able to make it through that particular. And you know what? There's a good chance August 1st will be the end of that as well. I would even say Mars on Uranus, authority, autonomy in trine to Pluto and trine to the moon at the end degrees of Virgo. Virgo is your job. I don't think Boris Johnson's going to make it past that particular event. So August 1st looks, well, I say August 1st because that's when it's exact, but I can tell you July 26th, we have what I deem to be kind of the beginning of the energy that is going to ultimately affect us on August 1st. So I would definitely say the week before August 1st, we're going to definitely have some type of very large world-changing event or large quantity of people, whether or not everyone in the world sees the same kind of event as an effect to their own personal lives remains to be seen. And, yes, you can say it's a global event, but there are people who don't even know anything happened. So it can't be those people, obviously, but Uranus and the North Node together would be a very large event that affects a large group of people. I would say a global event. Mars adds that fire. And so when you have the grand trine going on, or the grand trine by sign with the moon, which is an indicator entity, Pluto, which is a major life change entity in the heavens, there's going to be something. What is that something going to be? I will give many things that it could be, and it may even be, because it's Uranus, more than one event coming into July 26th through August 1st. So it can be personal life, it can be the end of a relationship, or the transmutation or transformation of that particular relationship, because it's in Taurus, which does rule getting together with a partner. It can mean you meet your partner. It can mean that on a large scale, people are affected by something that happens, which will ultimately affect relationships. It could mean we have multiple events. Again, everything is multiples because Uranus is multiples. It can mean that we have a large scale weather event. It could be tornadoes. It could be lightning. It could be across whole countries. It could be globally in different areas we're having these events. I personally think that there's a strong potential for a hurricane in Florida where I am, or someplace in the Atlantic. It's going to be, I would say, a very, very large hurricane. And I am knocking wood, paper, anything. I don't know if that's even wood, but I am hoping that that isn't anything that comes ashore, but it will be a very large scale weather event. It is the internet, the material goods that are sold on the internet. This means it could affect Amazon. It could affect servers and browsers and Google and Facebook. Any large companies could definitely be affected by this. I would kind of lump Facebook in definitely, but it affects cryptocurrency again. Now we have Uranus is going direct, Mars is right on top of Uranus, which means whatever energy is going on with that is going to enhance, but Mars is forward momentum. So I would even venture to say that crypto is going to go back up, and there is going to be something positive because it's the North Node, which generally tends to be futuristic, positive towards the future. Mars in Taurus, which is receptive energy and assertive energy at the same time. Uranus, which is the unexpected. And so, of course, crypto just went down. I think that it will go back up. And I've talked about this last week and multiple weeks that it is going to be a roller coaster ride up and down. But I do think the infusion of Mars energy with Uranus in Taurus will increase, because Mars in Taurus is very much, Mars in Taurus is, it's a bull market. What else? Because of the grand trine in late degrees with Pluto and the moon, as Mars continues to move forward through the beginning of August, it is going to be very much about a rethinking of materiality. And moon in Virgo is healing and health. There could be a very strong connection to another COVID event. So pretty much, if you're looking at this, it encapsulates a lot of different areas. Taurus is retail. Uranus is technology. Mars is emergencies. North Node is major life changes. I think that there's also very, very strong potential for a major earthquake affecting a large quantity of people coming in, because the unexpected energy of Uranus is enhanced, again, Mars, grounded into the earth energy of Taurus, which means upheaval of the earth. And then finally, the last thing is a potential for explosions, especially chemical explosions and chemical fires. So emergencies around weather, chemistry, technology, and health would be my, and also currency. Because it is the unexpected, and I see it, Mars, North Node, Uranus, collective awareness and positivity, but because it is the unexpected and it can also act in counterintuitive ways, I would say potential for, and Uranus is this, potential for a crash in the stock market. But whatever it is, it's going to be big and it's going to affect large quantities of people. That sounds really scary. But on a positive note, there are other things that are positive going on. And as we approach that, we'll talk more about that. Jupiter trining the sun on the same day. You see in this chart, you see Jupiter trining the sun. Jupiter is travel. Sun is a fire energy in Leo. It is also connectivity to other people and friendships and drama. So Jupiter likes to call out what it sees and the truth, and it also likes to throw down the information and run, or how is a better way to put it? Expose things and then take off. So we will see that some drama is going on around an ego story, at that time. Leo being triggered, and also Mercury at 26 Leo at that time is also joining up with Trump's Pluto. It joins up with a whole generation of people with Pluto and Leo, late Leo. So that would be probably the 1950s, late 40s, 1950s. If you're in that age range, you're going to have your Pluto definitely triggered under this energy. There is also an inconjunct between Neptune, which retrograded this week and is in conjunct to Mercury on August 1st. So Neptune, Mercury is education, awareness of children, children's stories, and also I'm guessing that's probably going to be a COVID story with Neptune, because as we've discussed in the past, Neptune is the opposite of Virgo. Virgo is health and hygiene. Neptune is dreams, fluids, body fluids, and there's an opposition of the sun, or excuse me, there's an opposition of the moon to Neptune on this day. So this is a very big roller coaster day and extremely big day for going, wow, I can't believe that happened. And so it is August 1st, but like I said, we will be feeling this energy leading up to it. So the week before August 1st, the last week of July, a lot of upheaval, a lot of major news stories, a lot of chaos. I would say prepare, meaning prepare with food, prepare with, backing up your computer, making sure your finances are in order, put water in reserves, have backup generators. And I don't mean to be a downer, but this is what astrology does. It gives us heads up. And so I'm giving you a major heads up for this energy coming into August 1st. You've got a month to prepare. Okay, well, probably 3 weeks. Okay, let's do the chart of this week real quick here. Okay, we have Moon at 23. This is actually July 7th, but I post on July 8th. That's why it says July 8th. The Moon is at the end degrees of Libra. When you see this, Moon will be in Scorpio. Likely, if you watch early postings of this podcast, Moon goes into Scorpio. And Scorpio, of course, is intensity, answers to Pluto. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. It is deep emotional agendas. It is analysis of emotion. It's psychology and what motivates you. And it is personal value as it is seen by other people. Do you have value to others? The synergy and cooperation between self and another. And what is that value? The Moon will be in, over the course of the beginning of this week for this podcast, the Moon will be opposite Mars at 1 degree Taurus. And then if you look here in this chart, it goes down to Pluto at 27, which means that the Moon will be square to Pluto in the beginning of this range for the podcast at the beginning of the weekend, and square to Mars, our Moon opposite Mars, but square to Pluto. And so that's going to be a friction of growth. Moon opposite Mars is going to be completely opposite ends of the emotional spectrum. Moon is going to be broody, moody, down in their own stuff, not wanting to be out in the world. Very much, I would say, water signs. So Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are very much wanting to be alone in their emotions, to deal with the mood swings, to deal with the depression. And, if you know water signs, strong water influenced people, check in on them to make sure that they're okay. We've got grand trine going on also in Gemini with the Venus energy, and then the Moon at late degrees, mid to late degrees Libra, also air, and then Saturn in Aquarius. Really later on in the week, we're going to have Moon in Aquarius, and that's probably more when this is going to be more significant of a trigger for air signs. The Moon in Aquarius will be joining up with Saturn and then trining Venus. And so that's going to be something with children and technology, and something unexpected with what we understand about children. Air energy tends to be education and information and communication. So it can also mean technology with phones, the internet, etc. children. So I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the week we find the July 15th, Friday, some news story about children and technology, something happening with kids and the internet, whether it's information coming out how kids are affected, or some broader thing where a game, say a gaming industry event affected children, or it's going to be technology and children, or internet and children, or education and children, awareness of a child issue, and also feminine roles in society with Saturn and Venus in air signs. That's really a coming together of women's issues and doing something about it. It is activism for women. And so it's not going away. This whole issue around Roe v. Wade and what's going on is not going away. I guarantee you that it's going to be around for a while. And women are going to have a bigger say than you even know. Seriously. Okay, so the rest of the week, I'm just going to whip through it quickly so we can wrap this up and I can get it edited for your enjoyment. Friday the 8th, Moon enters Scorpio. As I've said, it's going to be more intense. We've got an opposition to Mars in Taurus, and that means, again, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, answering to Mars. It's going to be somebody ready for a battle. Moon in Scorpio is feminine, and Mars in Taurus is actually also feminine energy. And so we are really going to see probably more activism ramping up this weekend as well. That issue is not going away. Then we have Mercury in Cancer squaring Jupiter in Aries. So that's a cardinal square, Mercury communication in the sign of mothers. Again, it's just a lot of the women and their bodies and reproductive rights with that. Jupiter Aries is an expansion of a masculine viewpoint. So this could be, what men are thinking about that scenario around Roe v. Wade, but it can also be supportive men and getting through to men and what the drive is around the ideology or even issues of foreign countries. And I would even say, because it is Mercury in Cancer squaring Jupiter in Aries, that this is something going on with the races or immigrants coming up on Saturday the 9th. Yeah, and then the Moon Scorpio trines Sun in Cancer. Again, more emotionalism early in the morning. That's 7:10 a.m. Pacific, 4:10 a.m. Excuse me, 7:10 Eastern, 4:10 a.m. Pacific. And then we have the Moon opposite Uranus in Taurus at 8:34 a.m. That is money and volatility and value. That could be joint finances and currencies, and also how money affects family. Moon sextiles Pluto 12:34 a.m. on Sunday, and that's actually really positive energy around constructing something of value, basically, whatever that might be to you. It's also legalities, but it is a good energy. They have to pay taxes at that time. It's a good time to pay taxes. Moon enters Sagittarius. Travel, travel, travel. I've got it written all over this. Saturday the 9th, travel issues. Sunday the 10th, travel is a theme. And what we do for spiritual growth, what we do for education, and the information that we understand and share with others. Also, Monday into early morning on Tuesday, Moon is in Sagittarius. And that means that there are going to be a couple, 3 inconjuncts, one to Mercury, one to Uranus, and one to the Sun on Monday. Inconjuncts are really difficult and not terribly cooperative energy going on. So that means travel to not wanting to leave the home, and also what we understand to be financial issues. And then finally, our egos and what we believe is security. I definitely think that something going on Monday has to do with TSA or travel situations, whether it is train, if you are in a city that has subway, it could affect that. Mercury in Cancer means issues around anything in the home dealing with nurturing, kitchen issues. Anyway, it could be anything, but blah, blah, blah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, moon in Capricorn, full moon in Capricorn on Wednesday at 21 degrees, which of course means the full moon is within 6 to 8 degrees of Pluto. Moon joined Pluto full. This is the culmination of a story around authority, government, bosses, rules, and restriction. It is going to be some kind of culmination of a story around laws, government, authority figures. Could very well affect Boris Johnson on that day, being that it is the end of a story, end of a sign. Full moon is a culmination, and degrees is a culmination. Pluto retrograde is rethinking some kind of value system, and the moon says, hey, is this worth anything? Is this valuable anymore in the material world? Pluto says, let me weigh it. No, it's not valuable. Clearinghouse. So honestly, just given the theme that Boris Johnson is hanging on to his job by a thread, moon joining with Pluto, let's be honest, the Pluto energy at 22 degrees was a huge thing for Brexit, a huge thing for COVID, affecting lockdowns, the rules around that. And so when the moon joins up at 21 degrees of Capricorn, it's also hearkening back to the full moon or the moon energy when it joined up with Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, I believe, or no, Mercury, Jupiter, and Pluto a year ago. I'm going off the top of my head, so don't quote me on that, but basically 22 degrees with a 21 degree full moon in Capricorn is absolutely going to trigger some of the events of the lockdown from when it transited in the last couple of years in January. So look for another event coming in on this full moon with regard to COVID and rules, regulations, the government, restriction. Let's see, Friday, that was Wednesday, full moon. Thursday, moon enters Aquarius. There is a square of Mercury energy with Venus in Gemini, squaring Neptune retrograde in Pisces, communication. And again, the connection of Mercury is always health and accidents, squaring Neptune retrograde. That's fluids and liquids, flooding, emotions, anything along that psychic awareness, the collective emotional storyline. And that's Thursday. So something with women. I would even venture to say, I think I saw a trine. You see it, a trine here with Venus in this chart. Venus in Gemini, trining Saturn, and also the moon joining up with Pluto in Capricorn in conjunct to Venus in Gemini is probably someone in media or writing, a teacher of some sort, a female who makes her transition, someone in the public eye who associates to a woman in the public eye around journalism, media, or writing or teaching, but probably journalism and media. Anyway, that's on Thursday. Friday, we'll talk about next week. Just a heads up for what's going on. Moon in Aquarius, Venus in conjunct to Pluto perfects at 6:51 p.m. on Friday. So coming into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, probably a significant event around a woman in media. That can also mean the rise of someone saying something in media. But let's see, where is Mars at that time? Mars in Taurus. Again, Mars is racism, races, emergencies, action, sales, in retail especially. Moon opposite Mars right now, Moon in Libra, coming up on Scorpio opposite Mars in Taurus is going to be kind of a value assessment. Again, T-square to Pluto. Anyway, that's all I have for you this week. It's a lot of information. Hopefully I can edit this into something that makes sense to you. And I will post these particular charts up on Facebook on my forum at angeliczodiac.com. If you are interested in me looking into your chart to see how this affects you, please do check out angeliczodiac.com over here on my upper right-hand shoulder. Okay, that's all. Take care. Have a good week. Don't get too scared. Know that everything that happens for a reason, and we are growing at a very rapid pace, and it's only going to increase in the coming years. So, it's okay. Growth is okay. Change is okay. The best way to deal with all this change is to release the attachment to an outcome and just go with the flow. So that's all. Take care and share the podcast if you like it. Comment if you have an opinion. Take care. Bye. God, what? Oh.
Hey, this is Shelley. I wanted to give you a heads up that there are a lot of new art prints at shelleyoverton.com. So go over there and check them out. SHELLEYOVERTON.com. Thanks.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com, including discounts. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.